What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. So back on Friday, I was getting ready to head off for the weekend. I was closing everything down, and literally about 1 minute before I was about to leave, they went and dropped some actual gameplay of live gameplay from Rugby 22. So unfortunately, I've only just been able to get around to being able to make a video on it. I will put a timestamp down here for you guys that just want to skip ahead to that trailer coming out and watch me sort of talk about the things I'm seeing and what have you. But for the rest of you that want to stick with me till then, basically I still haven't actually watched this video. It's gone on all weekend. I've been dying to get around to finally being able to sit down and make this video. So this one came out on Friday. I don't know if it's a full game. The video is only about 5 minutes long. We are going to be going through the whole video. Basically, I'm just going to chuck it on in the background. I'm going to chuck me in a corner, as I like to do. Basically, we're just going to play it through and give some reactions, see what's happening. I don't know if it's a full game. I'm not sure if it might be like the first half or something for it to only be 5 minutes. But we'll react. We'll point out everything that I think looks good, everything that I think they might need to improve or change by the time the release comes around in like 3 days. And then finally, of course, if I see something bad that I think looks bad, I'm going to mention it. You guys know I'm perfectly honest when it comes down to these sorts of games. I don't mess around. I give my honest opinion. So, like I said, we'll get into this game and check out the official, actual gameplay that we get to see for Rugby 22. Alrighty, I've got my headset on. I'm ready to go. We'll start off, as you can see, Rugby 22. Let's press play. 3, 2, 1. So it is going to be between France and New Zealand. We're in the corridor. The players' faces look way better than Rugby 22. That's actually quite impressive. They look pretty good. This is obviously going to be their sort of opening match. We've got some French flags in the background. The French team standing there. Are we going to get to see a hacker? Are they going to do it? One of the big questions for this game, whether or not New Zealand were going to do a hacker. No. That's a bit of a shame. Of course, a couple of things people have been saying about this game is, will we get to see anthems, lineups, hackers and stuff, a bit more of a build-up to a game. I personally would have liked that. Maybe they've just skipped over it, but didn't look like we had done. So they are going to be playing the game with the camera base behind the player. Personally, I really like to play it side-on. For anyone who's seen the videos, you know I like to play it side-on, like an actual game of rugby. But they're going to play it with this sort of spinny camera, which is fine. We've got Bamba here making a bit of a run. So the ruck system looks pretty identical from what I've seen here. That's a weird little kick there from Dupont. Going to get picked up. Obviously giving away the advantage. Now, Rugby 20, actually, if you kick the ball away, sometimes the advantage ended before the opponents got the ball. Looks like there still isn't a system to just say, I want the penalty when you've got the advantage. Something that we don't really see in rugby games is them giving that away. We've got a scrum starting off here, nice and strong here. Looks pretty much the same as the old method. The bar for the put-in is huge to be lopsided. That's going to make scrums even easier than they were before. France here with a bit of a dominating scrum. The graphics are looking nicer. There is a lot of like footprint icons on the ground. There's not, of course, there's not going to be them now. So it looks like it's not a full game. Actually, I've just noticed in the top right corner, we're now into the 20th minute. That was a weird kick. Okay, again, they're just sort of kicking it into touch. This is obviously to get the penalty they want, maybe. We get to see the first lineouts. This is almost more like highlights, I guess, of a game. So the new lineout system, let's have a look. Didn't look to be anything too different in there, necessarily. This is the new mauling system. So, it looks like you're slowly binding in players. The bar's going up and down, so maybe you've got to try and gauge. So you're actually... Oh, maybe the maul can actually go backwards. Maybe you can begin to lose a maul and actually lose momentum. That would actually be quite nice. That didn't happen in Rugby 20. If you got stopped, it just stopped and ended. What are the marks on the grass? Is it meant to just be symbolising like where the turf is getting ripped up? It does look a bit like footprints. Oh, there's a bit of a different line out. So, looks like they got a bit of a new quick time event. We didn't get to see it fully in action because they went for a long throw. We'll see how we get on here. Dupont. They look like they might have actually changed the... Oh, there was a big gap there for Malvaca to get through. No idea why he went for the cut back inside there. It looks like they've changed the passing animation a bit. They actually are pulling back a bit more on the pass. Rugby 20 just sort of chucked the ball. It was a bit netball-esque. This is the first set play. Oh, we see Entomac go over for a try. Right, okay. So that one worked well. We have no idea what difficulty this game was being played on. It looked through like they got through quite easy there. So hopefully that'll be all right. Again, the graphics here for this kicker, Entomac stepping up now. The players seem to stand out a lot more. This number 10 of Entomac is standing out a lot clearer against this grass. The graphics is looking actually better than Rugby 20, so that's nice to see. Successful conversion goes over for 10. And the actual player face is looking pretty good. Again, licensed teams, they're always going to look slightly better. Okay, we got another set play here. Let's see if any tackles are made. It's certainly not on the highest difficulty, because I feel like a couple of those players could have been tackled there. As you see, Anton Linnett-Brown on a fantastic run all the way up the field there. So a nice little breakthrough. Obviously not being played on the hardest difficulty. I'm guessing this game was actually played... They're in the 100th minute. I've just realised. Why are we in the 100th minute here? So there must be two people playing, one against another. It's not... actually like someone playing an AI, because they've both got the different coloured tabs over their names. I assume that means it's two people playing against each other, and that's maybe why some of the tackles are being missed. Why are they in the 100th minute? Like, the clock has stopped at 100 minutes, so they've either got 80 minutes run time and there's like 20 minutes of overlap time, but for some reason it's stopped at 100 minutes? Or is that wrong and they believe it's meant to go on for 100 minutes? Who knows? We see... I think it's Bowden Barrett. It's obviously meant to be the number 10. Could be Bowden Barrett. Could be, of course, Geordie Barrett. But it looks a little bit more like Bowden Barrett. As we see Jalibert going down the wing here to get another try. The try animations... So far from what I've seen of the try animations is it seems to be very similar to Rugby 20. It doesn't look like they've added a lot more. The little... actual running animations look ever so slightly different, especially on some of those like twists and turns, a little sidestep on the inside. Another interesting note, I'm wearing headphones for this because I was expecting to listen to some commentary. There's no commentary for this. I really hope they have commentary for the actual game. It looks a bit like they're... maybe this is just because they've just taken the game footage. Maybe they haven't got any commentary. As we see France winning a game. It was a little bit disjointed there to work out some of the scoring and see what was going on there. And there we have it, Rugby 22, January 27th. So, of course, that's going to be this Thursday, so that's coming out quite soon. That was actually a much shorter thing than I expected it to. I thought maybe they were going to explain a little bit more. I might just go and quickly have a little bit of a look through. So the scrum system looked pretty much the same. I do want to have a little bit of a look at the line-out system. So let's check out this line-out system here just for a second. So the ball comes in. It looks like we've got the two circles. Now, I imagine the square that you see on the board is going to be... Each colour is going to be a reference to... The circle closing in is going to be your colour. It's going to get in the green zone where the square is. That'll be where you have to tap it to actually make the jump work, I'm guessing. Now, something else interesting is the colours are on the wrong side. Orange are playing as New Zealand and blue are playing as France. And yet their colours are on the wrong side of the line-out. So maybe you're trying to call the other jumpers? Don't know what's going on there. A bit interesting. Now, this ball did go long, so again, I've got to take that into consideration. The ball actually goes over. It looks like neither of the teams called it very correctly at all. Maybe it's to time the players at the back jump. It's very confusing to understand what happens there in this line-out system, actually. So the ball comes in. So as the line-out's made by player 2, the black circles are actually coming round. So whether you've got to time it in coordination with where your coloured circle is or the green ring around the square could actually be something to do with the line-out. However, it does go long. We don't really get to see one of those happen for the other line-out, which was a bit of a shame. But definitely mixing that up. Going to be a lot to look at there in terms of new line-outs. Of course, we will be going over that when we do the stream when this game comes out. The new mauling system is still looking like it's a little bit linear. You're not really seeing the maul break apart at all. But one thing I'm liking the look of is the idea of pushing it towards the middle. And if it gets towards the middle, you lose momentum. And the bar can even go a little bit more towards you. Maybe you could even start going backwards if you're playing as the slightly lesser rated team. You could actually get beaten in your own maul and get driven backwards. That would be really interesting. Rugby 20 certainly limited you to, as soon as your maul stopped, you pretty much were forced to play the ball, as opposed to losing distance and you making the manual choice to actually let it go forward. So I quite like that as a new mauling system. Of course, we'll have to check out the intricacies of that a little bit more. The try animations look exactly the same as Rugby 20. Maybe it would have been nice to have seen some different things. Maybe the different buttons that you push that get over the try line could actually create a different try scoring scenario. I think that would have been nice. The set plays, it's quite hard to judge how well the set plays work. They are the same set plays we saw in Rugby 20. Now, of course, Rugby 20, your players were very far forwards. So a lot of times you do get tackled a lot. However, the players in this one don't seem to tackle them, even though the AI are running alongside them. Which means it's obviously being played on a lesser difficulty. So hard to gauge if they're working well or just because they're playing it on a lower difficulty. I am looking forward to see their difficulty arc in this game. A couple of things some people might not have noticed that as I'm scrolling back and forth here. No touch judges, which I did think we saw in one of the images for the game or maybe even the gameplay trailer that was released last week, was touch judges running up and down the side of the field. Maybe it was just the referee, and for whatever reason he was off the pitch. But looks like there's no touch judges in live game. Interesting note. We also haven't got to hear the commentary, so I think if we haven't got to hear the commentary is going to be ripped directly from Rugby 20. Maybe a few more names. Some of the New Zealand names might be added in. I wouldn't hold your breath that there's going to be a whole bunch of new commentary. In terms of the crowds, I'm just looking here at some of the crowds and stuff. You know, new flags and stuff. It is nice to see quite a few flags. You've got the supporters in different coloured shirts and stuff. One thing that I do wonder in rugby games, why they do this, is to have people turn up in shirts in the crowd that are obviously not there for this game. There's plenty of people in this that are there in like a very faded blue colour shirt, a green shirt, you know, a white shirt. There's lots of different shirts, but then in like the home and away stands, it's a sea of blue for France. And I can't think if at the other end it was all black. Yes, it is. It is all black at the other end as well. So it's really weird why in the middle they sort of have people in different coloured shirts. I know not everyone turns up to a game in a jersey, but a lot of people do. Looks like we haven't got the licensed stadiums because this is obviously a nothing stadium. The enhancements in terms of graphics and stuff, the game does actually look better than Rugby 20. A lot of people probably won't be able to pick up so many differences, especially if you've not played that game since release. This game, to me, looks way better than Rugby 20, actually, especially the character models, and the actual visual look of the players against the grass stands out a lot more to me. Again, we have no idea what this is being played on. This could be PC, this could be next generation consoles. Could look way worse, especially on some consoles that I'll be playing with. I do like they've added terrain damage. The idea of like the damage to the grass. I've got one here as we're just looking at the mall. You can see how much sort of damage has been to the grass where it's been torn up a little bit. It does look a little bit like spray paint on the grass more than turf being torn up. There's no real depth necessarily to a lot of the damage on the grass. It just looks like that patch of grass is brown, which is fine. It's going to be a bit of a skeleton maybe for them to push forward in future rugby games. I personally would maybe like to see some divots and maybe some actual damage to the ground. It doesn't have to affect the ball necessarily when it bounces over, but I would like to see maybe a bit of like turf churning. I mean, if they ever added into a game the idea if you kicked a ball over a bit of ripped grass or something, that it made the ball bounce differently, would be a really interesting mechanic to add in a game, but I'm not sure if they'll add that in. Yeah, it's a shame it's not been a whole game, so we could have got to see a lot more. They obviously just wanted to show off the rucking mechanics, the set play mechanics, maul, scrums. They wanted to show off a little bit of what is going to be in the game, which is nice. Again, I don't know why they've released this so close to the day it's coming out. Why not release this at Christmas? Why not get people really excited for it? But nice to see the character models look better. The character faces to me look a lot better than they did in Rugby 20. I can at least tell who the players are, even in the licensed teams. You can clearly tell Entomac is Entomac. There are a couple of Wales players that were in Rugby 20 that just didn't look like the players at all. They were just generic faces. So hopefully if they've done that for all character models, I'm not sure if they're just showing off because it's a French company with all the French leagues and New Zealand is their sort of big name that they've managed to get in for this one. I really hope it's not just these two teams and they're trying to show it off for this one. Hopefully this is going to be an actual thing for all the teams across the board. But a couple of really nice touches here. I would have liked to have seen some gameplay from the sideline, just a couple of camera angle changes. We didn't get to see that, which is a bit of a shame. And it's not looking like they've added in a replay function after a try is scored. I really wanted it to be, like you have in like FIFA, like you had in Rugby 2011, the ability to go backwards, forwards, change your camera angle, view your tries from different angles, especially someone that needs to come up with thumbnails. Really useful to have stuff like that I could use. So it doesn't look like they've added in, which is a bit of a shame. The kicking system looks pretty identical. They've got rid of the limit bar, so I'm not sure if you've almost got to time it now without a limitation. Maybe it's because they're playing it on an easier difficulty that there isn't the limitation bar. If you got it in the red, your kick would sort of go all over the place. So nice to see the enhancements they've made to this game. I can definitely see a lot of people getting not super hyped about this game, especially with some of the team announcements that we had earlier last week. But I'm quite happy with this gameplay. It literally does look like what we all sort of expected. It's Rugby 20 enhanced a bit. Now, does that mean it's worth the £45-50 point price mark? I don't know. I can imagine a lot of people not necessarily being invested in this. I can imagine if you do not have the disposable income to pick up this game, I would maybe still be leaning towards Rugby 20 at this point. It's probably going to be like half price as soon as this game comes out. There's nothing wrong with picking up that game. But of course, we will be doing a lot more videos on this game. We'll be doing a stream when it comes out. I'm going to be playing games of this when it comes out. So make sure you subscribe to the channel when those videos come up. You'll be the first people to know. And that way you can keep just in touch with what's going on with this game and some of my actual recommendations on this game. I think there's some nice positives to look at overall. Character models look nice. The team kit's looking nice. Actual damage to the turf, nice little enhancement. Certain things I think could be worked on. We'll wait to see what happens with some of the set plays. The try animations, I would have liked to have seen more. It does look like they've actually changed a little bit in terms of the running animations and the passing animations, which is nice. I did feel Rugby 20 was a bit basketball, netball-y, chest passing. This looks a little bit like the gameplay's been slowed down a bit. You're not just seeing a winger sprint around the outside of everyone, scoring an amazing try from 100 yards. And then, I think there's improvements here. As gameplay trailers go, I'll rate that as like a 6 out of 10 for me. Definitely some positives to look at. Definitely would have liked to have seen a full game. Definitely don't know why it got to 100 minutes at one point. Why did that happen? I really hope they don't think a game of rugby is 100 minutes long. Unless you're Wales, France, and you've got Wayne Barnes refereeing. As some of you will, of course, remember from back in the Six Nations a few years back now. So, yeah, I think a 6 out of 10 for me. Looking forward to this game coming out. Looking forward to actually playing it live. If you've enjoyed this video today, guys, make sure you drop it a like, because it does really help the channel out and helps other people find videos like this to do with rugby gameplay. And like I said, make sure to subscribe to the channel just to keep up to date with when all the latest videos come out, especially around this game with it coming out this week. I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.